敬礼。ボリバル国民警備隊教官ドーベルマンだ。早速だが担当直入に行こう。
Hi everyone, welcome back to another banner review with Dobermann. Today we will be talking about the upcoming status banner. As per usual, I will talk the mentioned operator shortly, give you my pros and cons, and at the end I will give you my opinion whether you should pull or not. Now without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with the 5 stars. First up, we have the normal vanguard, Zima.
当然私だろ。
Zima specializes in DP recovery and vanguard support. I'd say she is pretty good if you have vanguard heavy teams, which is kinda a thing if you have your siege, backpipe, and your Texas build, because Zima buffs all vanguards attack and defense, making them able to stay longer with her buffs. She is also able to reduce your vanguard's deployment cost, which is very useful to deploy them faster. The downside, however, is that she is more defensive than Texas and suffered the same weakness with other vanguard archetypes, being outshined by utility vanguards, as you will find Myrtle and Alicia more appealing. But if you got her, I'd say she is definitely worth investing. If you're aiming for her, I highly recommend investing on her second skill. Next up, we have an AoE sniper, Sesa.
おとぎ話でも聞きたいか。古い物語ならいくらでも話してやれるよ。
Sesa specializes in reducing attack speed and high damage to blocked enemies. I say he is very powerful if you have heavy block teams. His talent lets enemies to take more physical damage when blocked, and this talent shares with your allies as well, making him pretty powerful as a physical support. His second skill I'd say his go-to because it's pretty high damage while also slowing down enemies' attack speed, making this a good skill to let your allies survive longer. His drawback is that his second skill is rather clunky because the attack is delayed, which means enemies can easily get past it. But judging on how his kit works, I say this drawback is not something that you should worry about because he is designed to be a DPS for block heavy teams, and his DPS spike when the enemies are blocked. So whatever the condition is, Sesa is meant to be with someone blocking the enemies, and that's how he works. But if you ask me if he is good or not, then my answer is decent, as you don't necessarily need him because you want to defeat your enemies faster rather than block them. Although, I do find him way better than his counterpart Skyfire. If you're aiming for him, I highly recommend investing on his second skill. Finally, we have support guard, Swire.
ドクターガオーなんちゃって。
Swire specializes in ground support. Being a support guard, she is able to increase attack stats of your melee units surrounding her, and her skills increase talent effects while also providing different utility each skill. If you're using her first skill, her range increases very significantly like Sakia's second skill, which is very huge, and increase her talent effect by 2 times. If you're using her second skill, she will increase her attack while also increase her talent effect by 3 times. If you ask me if she is as bad as everyone sees her, then my answer is no. I don't think she is as bad as I find her actually pretty decent. The only bad thing about her is that her second skill has very long cooldown and used on attack recovery, which I don't think it even justifies what the skill can provide. But if I say you should aim for her, then my answer is no, because her archetype drawback not great in combat, which makes this archetype outshined very hard by other guard archetypes. There will be a better support guard in the future, which is Wishless, that can buff all allies, but even so, you don't necessarily need her all the time, which just kinda shows that this archetype is just not the most effective on most strategies. However, if you aim for Swire, I highly recommend investing on her first skill because it's way more consistent than her second skill. Now let's move on to the 6 stars. First up, we have Unique Caster, Ifrit.
いやー久しぶりにバーベキューやろうぜ。
Ifrit specializes in burst damage while also decrease both defense and resistance of enemies respectively. Has very long range and she pairs very well with blockers if you want to keep her constantly attacking. Her damage is also very high as well, making Ifrit become a support and DPS at once, which is a whole package for a perfect caster. But giving such power also comes with Ifrit has relatively awkward range, being only able to attack a narrow lane than other operators in general. But in my opinion, the range is not really a problem the more you use her, or you can just use blockers to help with this matter. If the stage conditions are met, then you will find yourself not needing any other operators helping because Ifrit's damage alone is too absurd, and you can just let Ifrit do the job alone. You don't necessarily need Ifrit, but she is definitely great to have and she has good potential on the upcoming CC3. If you're aiming for Ifrit, I highly recommend investing on her second skill. Finally, we have unique sniper, Rosa.
ドクターやったわ本当に喜ばしい勝利ね
Rosa specializes in crowd control and high damage to heavy enemies, making her very good for bossing as well. Her talent allows her to ignore defense to heavy enemies, which significantly increases Rosa's damage potential. She is a good crowd control operator as well, as her third skill has very short cooldown with very justified duration as well. While it's true that her third skill doesn't have high damage buff, her third skill also attacks enemies very rapidly, so it's justified as you will find even lightweight enemies will be defeated anyway. Her second skill also very strong if you want more consistent multi-target damage to enemies with long duration and equal cooldown. But the thing about Rosa is that she has very awkward range as she won't attack enemies who are directly in front of her, and you won't necessarily be using Rosa on all stages as you will find other operators are better on most scenarios. But that does not mean that Rosa is a weak operator because within the niche, only few snipers that can match Rosa's utility and DPS. If you're aiming for her, I highly recommend investing on her second and her third skill.
任せて今の状況にはこれが良いかしら
In my opinion, this is a decent banner but also an easy skip because all operators mentioned are not really a must to have. The star of this banner is definitely Ifrit, but again, Ifrit has very awkward range regardless of her absurd DPS. If you really want to pull, might as well you should do the guaranteed pull as you will definitely get a 5-star in exchange. But if you want consistency in terms of your resources, then I'd say wait until better banner appears. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button because it really does help my channel. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss any of my new videos. I post Arknights and catch impact contents every single week. Thank you to my supporters. If you want to support me, you can join the Patreon or donate a PayPal or Coffee. The link is in the description down below. Thanks for your support and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe everyone. Peace out. Phew!